Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It is Friday, I am just home from work, I have got my comfies on. It is officially the weekend and that can only mean one thing. It is the start of another weekly weekend reading vlog. I do not have any plans at all for this weekend apart from reading. I've already warned Brandon, he is aware. My nose is going to be in a book pretty much the entire weekend, hopefully, so we can have a successful weekend after the failure of last weekend. So unless anything comes up, my plans are to read and to film, because I am quite behind on filming, so I do want to film 2 or 3 videos over the course of the next couple of days, but aside from that I plan to eat, sleep, read. I will just quickly go over the books that I am planning on reading this weekend first of all. So obviously in my last vlog I did start The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I have not finished that yet, but I am about 3/4 of the way through according to Goodreads and I am loving this. I can't wait to continue it. My plan is to finish this tonight, hopefully. I think I've only got about 100 pages left, so I want to finish this tonight before I move on to I am dying to read this book, as most people are if they haven't already read it. I did actually put a little poll on Twitter because obviously after I finished The Flatshare, that is 2 of my 4 books on my September TBR down. The other 2 that are left are The Poppy War and These Violent Delights. So I put a little poll up on Twitter saying which one should I read next, knowing full well what the answer would be. The poll's actually not finished yet, but it is very clear what direction the consensus is going, so The Poppy War will be my next book to read. So yeah, the plan is to finish The Flatshare tonight and then start The Poppy War either tonight or tomorrow and get through as much of this as possible. I am so excited to start this. I've wanted to read it ever since I got it and I've heard only good things, so I cannot wait to see how I feel about it. It's a bit of an odd weekend because I'm going from rom-com fluff to grimdark fantasy, but do you know what, that kind of sums up my personality anyway. I'm here for it. So yeah, if you're not aware, The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary is about 2 people called Tiffy and Leon who share a flat, share a bed, but at the beginning of the novel they have not met. So basically Leon is a night nurse and Tiffy works a 9 till 5 job. So when Leon is asleep, Tiffy is at work and vice versa. So the 2 have not met, their situation is working, and of course, not really a spoiler, at some point they do have to meet and romance does have to ensue. I mean, it's kind of clear from the genre and the blurb that that is going to happen. So as I said, I am 75% of the way through this, 3/4 of the way through. I am loving it. It is such a good book, it's such a good little rom-com. I love Tiffy, I think she's hilarious. I love her friend Rachel, who you don't see much, but at points you see her and she is great. I mentioned it in my last vlog, but I love the way that this is written. So you've got a chapter from Tiffy and then a chapter from Leon, just going back and forth the whole way through, and I love the way that Beth O'Leary has written this because the 2 characters have very different writing styles that really show their personalities, which I love. I'm also, obviously now that they have met, I'm really enjoying seeing their little romance blossom, and I'm loving seeing how their 2 very different personalities work together and how they bring out different aspects of each other. So at the point I'm at right now, obviously everything's very fluffy and lovely and nice, but romances have a certain formula, and I feel like we're at the point where something has to go drastically wrong before it gets better. So I feel like in the next few chapters it's all going to go to shit and then hopefully things will get worked out towards the end. I'm assuming that's the formula this is going to follow, I could be wrong, but everything just seems a little bit too good right now. So yeah, my plan is to now get set up, get cozy. I do need dinner, so I might do that first, and then hopefully race through the last 100 pages of this. I did actually read like 200 pages yesterday just in one sitting because I was getting so into it. So yeah, hopefully I can finish this off very soon and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So it is now Saturday. Brandon and I decided that we want to get up at a good time, seize the day. So we went for a little McDonald's breakfast. I got pancakes and a lovely iced latte from Costa to set me up for the day. I did actually end up finishing the flat share last night and I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's exactly what I was wanting, just a good rom-com. As I said before, I did really enjoy the character of Tiffy. I really loved seeing her blossom throughout the book and develop as a person. The ending of this was the cutest thing ever. I absolutely loved it. Oh, it was just, it gave me all the feels. It was the exact ending that I want from a rom-com. It was just, it was everything. One thing I will say though is, for as much as this is fluffy, light rom-com material, there is also a huge trigger warning for emotional abuse, particularly domestic emotional abuse, and the trauma that that causes. There is a character in this who, there are 2 characters actually, who deal with emotional abuse in their relationships and how much it impacts them, and it can be very hard to read. I mean, it's difficult for me to read at some points, and it's even something I've experienced. So I would say if that's a trigger for you, then perhaps stay away from this book, because it's not something that's advertised at all on the book, but it does go into quite big detail about the trauma of emotional abuse. So yeah, I would just say that's a huge trigger warning for it. One thing I will say though is I do think it was handled very well. I thought it was very interesting the way it was written, in that as the character sort of realised what was happening to her and how much she was being manipulated, we realised with her. So it was like we went on the same journey as her. At the beginning she thought everything was fine, and then as she realised more and more how much she was being controlled and how much she was being emotionally abused, we saw all those little bits with her, which I think is a really good way to write it, so that you can really see inside the mind of a victim and how difficult it can be to see. I will also say that there is no victim shaming in this book at all. That is another thing that is touched on, is that even if a victim does not realise what's happened to them and can't work through that, that is never their fault and it's never something to be criticised. You should only support them. So I thought it was handled very well in this book. Obviously, not being a victim myself, I probably shouldn't really comment on that, but from what I read, I thought it was done well. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Highly enjoyed this book. Really want to read The Switch now, so I'm gonna have to get my hands on that as soon as possible, because I really, as I said before, I really enjoyed the writing style that Bethel Lady had in this, so I'd like to see that in another book. I am of course planning to start the Poppy War now as soon as possible, but first of all I am just getting set up over here to film a couple of videos. I've got my ring light out. I've decided I'm going to film in front of the bookcase today and see what that is like. I did try another time and I felt like the camera kept focusing on the books behind me and putting me out of focus, but I'm hoping I can work out a way to stop that. So yeah, we're going to give it a go. I do have a couple of videos that I want to film, so hopefully I can get those done nice and quick, and then I can start the Poppy War and get as much read of that as possible. Okay, 1 video down, quick costume change. On to video number 2. Got my Iron Brew to get me through it. Hi friends, so all of my filming for the day is now done. I am going to sit here and I'm going to quickly edit one of the videos I just filmed, which is my August wrap up, because I do want to edit that and upload it to go live tonight. So I'm going to quickly sit and edit that and get it all uploaded, and then finally I'm going to start the Poppy War.
Yeah.
It's time! I'm finally gonna start this book that I've been wanting to read for so long, and I really hope it doesn't disappoint me. So I have a bit of a problem. Ever since I read Scythe and the Scythe series, whenever I read the word glean now, my mind instantly goes to like kill or murder or whatever. So when I'm reading a sentence and the word glean is in it, suddenly I get entirely confused and have to reread the sentence. Like this one is talking about gleaning meaning from something, but as soon as I read glean, I think of scythe. Very stupid and very irrelevant, but just thought I'd mention it. Hi guys, so I am now 100 pages in. I think I'm on page 105, and I had actually meant to update you a lot earlier in this book, but I just couldn't stop reading it. It is incredible so far. I can't even describe how much I'm enjoying this book. It is completely different to anything I've read recently. It's a lot more adult, it's a lot darker, but I am just really, really loving it. I'm loving the way it's written. I'm just flying through it, just hanging off of every sentence, going straight onto the other one. It's not jilted at all, it just flows so well, and it's not in like a flowery lyrical way, which I do love. I love that style of writing, but this is a lot more sort of to the point. But it's still descriptive, it's still describing feelings, it's still describing setting. It is, if you haven't read it, very dark. It is very violent, and there are a lot of trigger warnings in here for things like self-harm, emotional abuse, physical abuse, possible sexual assault. Even if you're not seeing these things, there are ideas of them, and very clear sort of graphic ideas of them. Basically, Rin's whole life so far is dark and horrible, and she is incredible to have got to the point that she's at and be as strong as she is, because it's horrific. So if you've not read this book and you're thinking of reading this book and you don't deal well with dark writing or violence or any of the trigger warnings I've mentioned, I'm sure there'll be many more throughout the book. Drug addiction is another one. I mean, I'm only 100 pages in and there's so much so far, so if that's not going to work well for you, I would stay away from this book because it's very prevalent. Basically everyone just treats Rin like shit. Like, they are racist, they're emotionally abusive, from her adoptive parents to when she arrives at the school that she works her ass off to get into. All the students, the teachers, everyone is horrible to her. And she just perseveres, she just keeps going, and it is incredible to read. I absolutely love Rin, the main character. I think she is amazing. She's so strong, she has gone through so much already, and I don't know how much more she's going to go through throughout this book and the others. Obviously when she arrives at the school, she is basically competing with all of these like children, mostly sons. I think there's 3 girls in her whole year and she's one of them, of warlords, sons of warlords, and people who have been training for this since they could walk. And she has never done any sort of martial arts, and she has taught herself everything for the exam that she needed to get in within a couple of years, when they've been learning it from birth basically. So she's an incredibly hard worker, and now that she's there, she is so behind. People are basically telling her she shouldn't be there, she doesn't belong there, and expecting her to get kicked out or leave because of all the abuse that she's getting. But she just keeps going because the alternative is going home to a life where she'll be married off to someone 3 times her age. And whenever she thinks about how horrible this is, she remembers what it is that she would have to go back to, and that pushes her through. And she makes herself mentally and physically ill, learning everything that she needs to learn to stay in this school. And I think it's interesting in that as much as you obviously admire her and you can't believe how hard she's working, how strong she is, it's also horrible that she's having to put herself through that, and it's incredibly unhealthy. But yeah, basically I am loving this so far. I'm loving the world building, which we mostly get through the main character, because basically as she's learning everything about history and war, everything from these books for her studies, we are learning along with her, which I think is a very interesting way of writing it. Yeah, I can't wait to continue, and I cannot wait for these badass shaman powers to come about, because they're nowhere to be seen as of yet, but I'm excited for them. So I'm just taking a little break from the puppy war just now because My mum just brought me up some amazing looking pudding. It is a strawberry pavlova that she's made from scratch. So I am very excited to eat this and just catching up on some booktube videos while I do so. I could put it up on the TV, but it's just going to sit on my phone because I don't plan on watching for long. I just plan on scoffing this and then getting back to reading. Oh my god, this book! I cannot stop reading it. I've been sitting here for like 3 hours now and I have not stopped reading at all. It is so good. It is so fast paced and it is so interesting, and so all the first years basically have to like go through the trials to get into the next year kind of thing at school, so that they'll be picked by the masters to become apprentices, and the lead up and the duration of the trials is just so tense, so exciting, so shocking. It's just honestly, I love this damn book. And Rin is starting to realise her powers. Well, not realise them, be afraid of what she's feeling and what's going on. But one of the masters is hopefully going to tutor her in the art of shamanism, and it's all going to be great. And I just can't wait to see where this book goes and how Rin develops throughout it, because what am I on? I'm on a page 160 now, and so much has already happened, and I bet there's so much more still to go. I'm so excited. Hi friends, so it's now Sunday. I did stay up quite late last night reading more of the Poppy War, so I'm now on page 178. Again, I am still absolutely loving this. It is such a page turner. I just cannot put it down unless I have to. Unless it is absolutely necessary, I refuse to put this down at the minute. It's so good. Another thing that I've not mentioned yet that I'm really enjoying about this is the politics involved with it. Of course, like the conflict between the North and the South, and with the previous wars that have been told, it's really interesting and quite poignant to us today how the way history is written can be very, very biased, particularly in the fact that it's usually written by the victor and warped to suit their ends and to make them look better. So, for instance, we've got Rin as the main character who's come from the south, and her understanding of history and what she's been told about what has happened in previous years is very different to how people understand it in the north. So yeah, just that idea that the people who have the power, so the north, are the ones who are in control and the south are seen as sort of lesser beings. The ones in the north have the control over how history is written and do it in a way that makes them look better. And Rin is mocked for her understanding of how history has been because the people in the north see the southern idea as basically stupid. But it's really interesting reading this and seeing how more and more how there are holes, there are gaps in how history is written in the north, and there are questions that people seem to just ignore and haven't had properly answered, and Rin is finding more and more out about what has really happened. And the more she presses, the more it sort of puts her in danger, but it's also really important because it's probably going to be very important to how the future is going to play out. So yeah, again, it's still really interesting. As she learns more, we learn more, so we've got that connection with Rin, which I really like. I love when things are written that way. The whole idea of like learning with the character and growing with the character, I really like that. And yes, it is still very, very dark, very violent, and for me, I love that. I find that fascinating and I really like to read about it. Maybe I'm a weirdo, I don't know, but I like horror films, I like thrillers, I like violence, and I like the same in books. It's not really ever been something that really bothers me personally. Like obviously I flinch and I can get a bit squeamish, but it's not something that I'll like shy away from because I do find it very interesting, and it is written really well in this. Yeah, still very much enjoying this. I am maybe like a third of the way through, and so much has happened. Like, I don't know how much more is going to happen in the rest of this book, but I am so excited to find out. So the plan for the rest of the day is hopefully to get a lot of reading done, but I do need to spend some time with my family as well, so we'll see. We'll see how much reading I get done today, but hopefully quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's quite a bit later, but I've made myself a little snack. I've got some cheese on toast with red onion and black pepper, which is one of my absolute all-time favourite snacks, so loving life. I have been reading quite a lot of the Poppy War today. I'm now on page 230, so I'm getting very close to the halfway mark, and the war is also just beginning, so it's about to get very interesting. Not that it hasn't been the whole way through already, it's still incredibly fast paced, so much information, description, world building, everything, and I am continuing to love Rin's character. But right now Brandon and I are just getting cozy. We've got the candle burning and we're going to sort of cozy up and watch a film. It is later in the evening now, although you can't tell because it's still really light. But yeah, we're just going to put something on the TV, probably a film, possibly a TV show, and just chill. It's kind of like our Sunday night ritual, just to cozy up together and chill out before it's Monday and the work week begins again. So yeah, we're going to put something on. Currently it's just doing this really annoying thing at the moment where our Now TV stick, whenever we turn it on, makes you sort of reset it and go through setup again, and it's every time and it's really annoying and really time consuming, but what can you do? I might read a little bit more of this later on, I'm not sure yet, so I'm not going to finish up the vlog quite yet. So I'll probably just have one final little check-in with you guys later on today or tomorrow. But yeah, for now it's time to eat this delicious concoction and get cozy. Hi friends, so I am back in the same outfit as yesterday because it's just really comfy, and I did do a bit more reading last night and this morning, so I'm now on page 282 of the Poppy War, so I've passed the halfway mark, and of course I am still absolutely loving this. This is definitely going to be a new favourite. I completely understand what everyone has been talking about when they've been raving about this book. I'm actually really pleasantly surprised that I'm really enjoying the sort of war aspect to this. Obviously I was looking forward to it in terms of like excitement and like a driven plot, but it's also quite descriptive of like military strategy and techniques and the sort of history wrapped up in that, which I'm finding really interesting. Obviously, as I said before, I do find it really interesting how it's sort of been unravelled, how history was sort of falsified. Still really loving that aspect of the book. And yeah, I probably won't get much done this week in terms of reading this, so you'll probably get a wrap up of my thoughts in next weekend's reading vlog. But yeah, that is going to conclude this week's reading vlog. So as always, if you did enjoy the video, then do please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe for more content, comment down below with any of your thoughts and feelings, and I will see you in my next one.